Alright YouTube, we're back with an updated Gohan guide because he got some changes this patch, plus the last patch, which I didn't make a guide for. Alright, first and foremost, before I even start with anything, yeah, you don't want Gohan point. You want him mid or anchor. So if you're going to make a team, it's going to look something like... Right? And you're probably wondering, why don't I want Gohan point? I'm glad you asked. So, the reason you don't want Gohan point is just due to the simple fact that he's at level 0. He has no levels. You don't want him going in butt naked. Essentially it, right? He has no gun, he has no sword. He has nothing, right? Not a fork, not a spoon to his name. So the whole objective is you get the hit, right? You know, you do whatever you gotta do, you know. Boom, combos, yada yada yada. And then you go in and boom, he's level 1. All of a sudden, you're having a great time. You have a complete character. You have better movement, right? You can use legs, things like that, okay? And I'll get more into this later, but as you can see, when you're level 0, you don't really have much in terms of movement. Your specials suck, right? Your LDP is way worse. Everything is just, you're not a great character. You suck right now, okay? Just remember that. That's why you don't want him on point. You want him mid or anchor, right? You want another character to do the heavy lifting before he gets started. All right, next thing to talk about with Gohan are his assists. All right, typically you want a assist because it is an anti-air, right? Your opponent jumps at you, dashes, you call Gohan, all of a sudden they get hit and you're like, damn, that's crazy. I get a free combo. I'm the best in the world. No one's gonna bring me down. B, you really don't want to run B. You can't really use B assist in neutral. It's just his 3L, right? It's just flurry of punches. Yeah, sure, you have a lot of frame advantage and you can get 50-50 off this. But what's the point if you have to hit your opponent for it to even do anything? You know, you're playing neutral, you can't just call him out because he's going to whiff. He doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't have any invincibility. You know, it's just to end combos and put him in mix. Basically just to give you, you know, like a grounded, oh, I missed. Like a grounded Dragon Rush. Not that great compared to A assist, and then you have C assist, right? Which is, you know, a beam, C assist. Pretty traditional. I could see people running this because they made C assist better last patch. It's like 2 or 3 seconds faster of recovery, something like that. Still, A is your best choice. It's got decent block stun. It's great anti-air, right? 29 frames. It's, I think, tied for the fastest assist in the game. Second, I think barrier is faster, but it's still a pretty solid assist. So yeah, it goes A, top 1, C, it's okay, B, terrible. Those of you that run B, you're built different. All right. Okay. So now that we covered his assists, you know what you could do with them, right? And you can still get Dragon Rush extensions with them, right? Don't think that you can't. Don't think, oh man, I'm running A. How do I, you know, Dragon Rush? You know, you just gotta work a little harder. Actually, you don't even gotta work that hard. Oh my god, I missed. Don't look at me. Let's just do this, just so I could get straight to the end. Oh, I missed, but you know, you get the point. There we go. Got it. All right. You can still go into Dragon Rush if you're worried about getting a knockdown or anything like that. You can still use it for mid-screen stuff, you know. So don't think you can't use it for extensions or for Blockstrings or things like that, right? All right. So moving on. You now know what assist to use, why to use, and where to use. Let's go through his buttons. Not much has changed between these last couple of patches, right? 5L goes a little further now. 2L, actually, I think between these two patches, his moves actually changed quite a bit. 5L goes further, 2L is 1 frame faster. 2M is the same, nothing changed here. 5M, they gave him Vegito 5M this patch. I don't know why, but I'll take it. All I wanted, if you saw my video, which is, you could put somewhere in here, what I wanted for my patch wish list was a level indicator for Gohan. That was the big buff I wanted. They decided to give him Vegito 5M. I don't know why, but yeah, thanks, I guess. They made 3L 1 frame faster, which isn't that big of a deal, but you can now do stuff like this. Oh, easier. That was good. Oh, but yeah, that's a little easier to do now because that is 1 frame faster. You know, just essentially the style and things like that, right? There's probably other situations where you could use it. You could probably use it if they're at the right height. Probably 3L there. Maybe off a 5H or something. Still a little too slow. Yeah, I don't really know too many places where it would be applicable. Right outside of that combo in the corner and, you know, maybe a couple other things. So yeah, there's probably some places where you could apply it, but 2L will typically be better for you in most situations. So yeah, outside of that, his jump buttons are all still the same, right? Same frame data, you know, 6 frames, 9, and I think JH is 11. Yeah, these are all the same. Nothing changed between these. 5S, still not that great full screen. You can use it till about, what, 80% of the screen, I believe. So if, you know, you're full screen and you're playing neutral, you know, it's not a bad option, right? You could try to confirm it into vanish. A little hard. It's pretty hard. Oh yeah, it's a little hard, but it's possible. Now, of course, JS is a very good move. You can even, at certain distances, you can even back fist off of JS, right? So you can do things like call your assist, right? The distances are strange. I'm not really sure why it works full screen sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. The closer you are, the faster back fist is, right? If you're full screen, it takes 36 frames, right? If you're closer, it takes 28 because there's travel distance to it. So that's what you want to keep in mind. Okay, 2S, you can kind of use it like a DP, right? And you're like, what do you mean by a DP? Well, if your opponent is trying to stagger you, right? You know, so if your opponent's trying to do something like this, right? And you get the read on your opponent, you can 2S EX legs, right? Keep in mind, though, that you typically want to do this at level 1 or higher. When you're at level 0, you don't go as far with legs. Like, look at that. I didn't reach him, and I ran out of legs, right? Off double jump height. Now, if you're level 1, you go further, you're active for longer. It's just way better. That's not to say don't do it, but just keep in mind the situation, the spacing and the distance between you and your opponent. And I'll dive into levels more when we get to that point. So yeah, so using 2S, right, when you know your opponent's trying to reset their string, it's pretty good. See, I missed because I was too far, right? Boom. And then you can just get, you know, a nice little conversion on it, especially depending on your assist, you know, depends what you have. Oh, I missed. Don't be like me and land your combo into Dragon Rush to level up. But again, you always want to get Gohan to at least level 1 because that's when he becomes a complete character. His combos and everything are a lot better when he's leveled up. Let me just give you a nice little example. This one right. This works at any level, right? You keep your smash, very important. You don't have teleport back fist at level 0, right? So you have to go for different routes. So if you land a hit like this, you go for this combo because you preserve your smash and you can get a knockdown without spending an assist or spending any bar, no resources, right? As opposed to, say, you know, you do go for the smash, boom. Oh, I think he could legs off there, huh? Ugh, that only worked because I was in the corner. But if you're not in the corner, you have to EX to get the knockdown, which you don't want to do. And this might actually even be less damage than the other combo for the cost of meter, right? Damage info, 5,000. I just need to know. It's close. Oh, I missed level. But point being is you still could have got the level there. Sometimes you have to sacrifice not hitting them to get the level, but it's worth it. All the time, every time. forever until the end of time. It will be worth it. That's how strong it is to just get a single level with Gohan. Don't underestimate level 1. We know people strive to get to, you know, level 1, level 3, level 5, level 7, right? Each level he gets better. But level 1 is when he's a full character. Full in quotations, right? He becomes fuller as he gets higher. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of combos that typically work in 0 and 1. But when you're in level 0, you can do this as well, right? It loops into itself twice as long as you do 2M, 5M, 3H. Neutral jump. Then you can get the knockdown. And then you take the level. It's just a bit basic combo when you're in level 0. If you happen to reach that point, you have options, you know. You could do this instead if you're close enough to the corner. It does more damage. So just know your options, you know. If you could ever go to beam super dash, it's going to do more damage. It's generally a rule of thumb across the board for Gohan. Especially when you're at level 0 and you don't have the best routes. You kind of want to squeeze as much as you can with what you have, you know. But he's generally able to get to around 5k off a medium starter. And most of these combos work even if you land a light button or a jump in. Boom, build the bar, level up, and we'll go over the new level 1 Oki, or old Oki, depending on how you look at it, a little bit later. Alright, that's it for level 0. I don't want to go over level 0 too much, because there's not really too much to it. But you still have to know how to pilot half a character. Alright, so now we go to level 1, right? What changes at level 1? I'm glad you asked. Even though most of you know, we still have to go over this. Back fist teleports now, right? It goes full screen, teleports, tracks the character. EX version, right? Tracks, it's faster, it goes full screen. Ground bound still. It's great, it's fantastic. Now, one of the big changes that comes with level 1 is, you know, I'll show you, you know, you get a 2H, right? And typically most people will do this, boom, whatever, right? 3H, blah, blah, blah. But you can opt to do this because of the new teleport you get from it. Granted, you gotta spend an assist, but the damage you can get from this outweighs the resources you spend, right? As opposed to, you know, 3.3k, right? Or if you vanish, you spend the bar early. You spend the assist early, right? And you don't get a knockdown afterwards. So if there's a combo to tell you to learn at level 1, it would definitely be the EX one. There we go. Finally got him. Look at that. Barely did more damage. Took both my assists. And it's really easy to do. So you 2H, you delay super dash. You do everything slow here when it comes to auto combo. Then you just falling M. And you could extend more. Obviously depends on your assist and all that stuff, but you do have options. So that's just a big thing I wanted to cover about just, you know, how his moves change and everything like that. Next is LDP recovers way faster. Look, way faster. Look at that. 33 frames, right? 34 technically. And if you go back to level 0, 53 frames, right? You don't want to LDP at level 0 typically, just because it takes forever to recover, and MDP doesn't go that far, right? And it takes 75 frames to recover. Now when you're leveled up, it's faster, it's safer, so DPs are better. Everything's just better about this character. Legs go further out, you can actually control your movement. Legs are faster, right? Everything gets buffed, every special. Masenko gets more hits. You can confirm it into super dash easier if you land at full screen. You know, he just becomes a much better character. Is there anything else that changes with him? No, that's it. Can you actually? There's something I need to see. No, it's every level where you can fast fall in 5H. You can do this with fast fall. You can fast fall and cancel the recovery into 5H. I think even 2H. But this is not good to do unless you're level 7 and you DP right after or something. But like, this is such a risk to do. you know. You might as well just wait the recovery and 5L instead. Alright, so let's go on to level 3. What happens at level 3? He gets one more air dash. And then this is great to have because if you make your opponent block and assist, right? Just have you crouch. You now have access to Gogeta mix, right? You could double air dash if I was good. There we go. You could double air dash and get mix here. The movement's better, right? You could weave in and out, dash in, dash out. EX legs to go back in, right? Key blast, dash in, dash out, legs. You know, there's just a lot of things you could do. You could jump, dash. It's insane. The movement this character has. You can kind of just do whatever you want and just keep your opponent on their toes and frustrated at the same time. Well, this is when he really becomes a super annoying character. Is that one air dash, right? You jump, you float, last second air dash, jumping on your opponent, air dash like this, right? Back fist, you know. His angle of approach is just way better. And you know, you get better. And when you're in Spark, right, you can do things like, I guess I'll just have you stand for just proof of concept. You can do double air dash mix, right? No one's gonna block this, I promise you. I'll just give you an idea of the type of mix you can do and things like that. And we'll touch on sparking mix a little later once we're done going through the levels. Alright, level 5. And you don't get anything at level 2, 4, and 6 except for damage. In case you're wondering, it's like 2% damage from levels 2 to 6 to give them 10% total, if I remember correctly. That's like another nice little buff that he has, just because. So at level 5, this is when they gave him something new this patch, right? As we all know, level 5 he gets reverse beat. And what is reverse beat? Reverse beat means you could literally string any normal in any order. It's great. So you could start 5H, and then you can do 3L, 5M, 2M, 2L, 5L, right? You typically want to end your string in 2L if you can, because it's 0 on block, right? You always want to at least be neutral. You can also kind of sneak in a 3L, right? Because it's only -2 on block, or maybe 5L, right? Which is also -2 on block, just to keep them guessing, right? You don't want your opponent to know when you're going to stop. And you could kind of slow it down to see if you can catch them staggering. Or I should say, you should stagger your pressure to see if you can catch them mashing, right? Little delays here and there, you know. Keep your opponent guessing, frustrate them. Oh yeah, you could also reverse speed in the air, in case you're wondering. It's not just the ground, right? So now you could do this overhead. You know, jump H, L. In case you want to make blocking this character even harder for some reason, which is already hard to do in the first place. So yeah, now with Gohan's new change, when he fast falls, here, I'll just make you jump. So he could now fast fall and come down with a button, right? I don't know who decided to give him this change, but thanks, I guess. Oh, I gotta save my M. See that? He's coming down with an M. I fast fell and came down with an M. You're probably thinking, when can I use this? Because I can't use this mid-screen, because you always knock your opponent away and you can't back fist fastball. I'm glad you asked that question. This is one way you can use it when you hit your opponent in the corner. Oh, well, I missed the second relaunch. But yeah, before Gohan used to have to do this to get a conversion. You used to have to do this, right? You proceed to make your opponent explode. You know, 6.2 damage. It's great. You don't really build meter off of it. But now, the devs are like, but what if you could build meter? This is absurd. This isn't even optimal either. This is actually absurd. You lost 7k on an unoptimal combo. And you could, there's a bunch of ways you can use this, right? You can also use this like this if you want to style on your opponent. Right? It's great. It's cool. It's a nice change. Now, there's also some gimmicky stuff you can do with this. You could do this. Fast fall down 2H, 2H. The one problem with this though is your opponent can duck in between the hits. Let me see. So it's super gimmicky. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you can catch your opponent blocking high because they think you're gonna, you know, EX legs at the high low or something like that, then you can try to sneak it in. This is more like a test your opponent. Because you do this. And it's a fuzzy, right? If you get to this point, then you're gonna be able to fuzzy your opponent. Right? They're gonna have to hold that. Okay, it's gonna force them to stand block. They're gonna have to block a 50-50 if you can get them to that point. And I'm only including this because it can be a potential option. So explore, see if it works. J2H is not an overhead, no. Maybe you can call an assist in between it to keep them standing, but you might as well go for the 50 at that point, the 50-50. And of course, you know, he unlocks other combos at level 7, right? And again, this is a guide, this isn't a combo video, but just to kind of show you what he can do, because he could basically do whatever he wants now. It's a good combo, I can show you. Oh! Well, you get the idea, right? He could kind of just do whatever he wants, even if you land something like this. I haven't practiced this, forgive me. You could now double 2H in a combo, right? So it's 2H, delay the JL in the air into 2H, immediately auto combo, and then jump as high as you can, L2H, LL. It's just to squeeze a little bit more damage in mid-screen, right? Also, the new thing that he gets with this fast fall change is now if you catch your opponent in the air, right? You can, I'm good. Hold on. You could fast fall L, right? Because before, your opponent could have a chance to reflect or 2H shoot, right? If you caught them this high and you couldn't staircase them all the way to the ground properly. Sometimes you could whiff a button, right? You go like this, and you'd whiff, and you're like, damn, that's crazy. But now you can just catch them like this. Oh, if I could hit it. Don't look at me, bro. That's not fair, dude. That's insane. So yeah, he's super cheap now. He's insane. He can kind of just do whatever he wants at level 5. Now we go to level 7, right? This is when he really just becomes a party game character. For those of you that don't know, he can cancel his specials into themselves, which is broken because he can now DP. Oh, let me make him block. He can now DP into legs to make himself safe, right? But he could also DP into EX legs to go for a 50-50. Now, let me put the character to 2H here. Oh, I messed it up. Hold on. Yeah, it's a frame trap, right? So you get hit, you're gonna explode, right? So boom, Gohan wakes up, DPs. You try to mash 2H. He EX legs. He proceeds to do this combo, which takes your entire health bar, right? That's probably the optimal combo off of that situation and off of just DP in general, if I recall correctly, or close to it. It's also corner carry. Whoa, I said this is weird on some characters. Why? I don't know. Talk to Bandai. Yeah, and then you just lose all this health, and then you explode, and then you're probably going to be dead because he's going to build a gorillion bars meter. So yeah, that's the beauty about level 7, right? You can just kind of just do, have him not 2H my shit. How about that? Legs, back fist. Back fist, you land, you DP, right? You can cancel into Masenko. He's just happy to be here. He's just happy to be here, guys. Can you do this? No, the game registers these as all one string. No, it doesn't, son. That's hilarious. Oh man, I love this character. So now the beauty of when he's level 7, if you remember back earlier, I said you could JS backfist at ranges, right? You can now convert by yourself. It's a little hard because you have to slightly delay legs, but you can do it. And now your opponent just explodes. Oh. So yeah, as you can see, level 7 Gohan, party time. He has super simple combos as well. Again, this isn't a combo video, but I'll just show you some easy combos he has at level 7. Like, look how hard I'm not working, right? I did 8.1k. I didn't even do anything. I didn't do a damn thing, right? And you know, if you remember this combo I did earlier, Gohan can now end it without needing an assist. And it does less damage, but it's way cooler, right? It's way cooler, but he can now end it by himself. He can end such high hit stun combos now by himself because the game freezes when you do special into back fist. Why did they decide to do that? I don't know, but hey, we'll take it. So these are the advantages Gohan gets for all his levels, right? Typically, you at least want to hit level 3 if you can. If you can hit level 5, do it. If you get level 7, do it. You're just gonna get way better. Now that I've gone through the levels and what they can do, I'll show you some mix-ups that he can do when he's in sparking, right? And you don't even need to be... I think you can do this up. Yeah, you could probably do this at level 0. This is a little difficult at level 0. Okay, no, it's possible at level 0. I missed the key blast. But yeah, so what you're doing is you're jumping back and you're using an air dash, your super dash macro to get the air dash, right? Instead of having to double tap forward as fast as possible. And then you throw a key blast to stay same side. You have to be careful not to get super dash because there is a height requirement. If you do it too low, you'll get super dash. But this is very fast on your hands, so you make sure you practice this. Because I actually haven't practiced this at level 0. So I'm bad. But it's very good mix-up to know. Because your opponent's guessing at this point. And I believe even if they super dash, they get hit by EX legs. I could be wrong though. Let me make sure before I gaslight you. I mean, just, yeah, okay. I just had to make sure that wasn't gaslighting you. So yeah, it covers super dash. It should cover 2H as well. Oh, there we go. You just gotta be faster. Okay, you just have to be good. So yeah, this is a very good mix-up. Because even if they mash 2H, right, they get hit, you get the knockdown. You hopefully have some levels. You level up. Alright. And of course, he has the other stuff like this when he's in Spark. When you level up, of course. You know, double air dash, right? If you air dash deep enough, you know, you could fake same side or fake cross up at the same side. Obviously, it gets more potent if you super jump, which you probably should because it makes you look like you're gonna cross up. Yeah, this character's crazy. There's a lot of things he can do that other characters can't. He does have that same privilege. I mean, you can find yourself in this situation sometimes when it comes to Spark. You know, your opponent air dashes you on wake up, right? And I'll do this at level 1. Let me just put it back over here. You wake up DP, and you can do something like this, right? I'll build a bunch of bar. Actually, yeah, you could murder here. I'm stupid. But yeah, you could TLD off of this. So it's very good to know. Boom. I mean, I take off the perma spark, but yeah, you build most of the meter. And then you just assist, and then you can kill a character off an LDP in the corner, right? That's how good Gohan is at building bar and doing damage. Where if you LDP your opponent, you should probably spark, because you can probably kill them. Because he's just that good of a character. It's insane. And just to give an idea of how it gets better the higher level he is. If you remember this combo, we would air dash 3H for it. Well, you can now do this. Right. From anywhere on the screen for the most part. It has great corner carry. Does a bunch of damage. Builds a bunch of meter. If I didn't miss the extension, you would have seen it. So yeah, once you're level 5, you can really stretch out your hits and your damage. I also feel like they buffed his hit stun this patch, because there's no way that this combo should work. This definitely feels like it shouldn't work. But yeah, you get unoptimal combo, by the way. You should be able to get a couple hundred more out if you do the right extender. But for the most part, character's dead. Especially if you add the meter. Especially if you do the optimal version. Especially if you use both your assists. Alright, so now when it comes to Gohan's neutral game, what do you really do in particular? Now that we've talked about, some sparking stuff, some level up stuff, things like that, right? Well, depending on your level, let's just say you're level 3, right? Average level, most Gohans make it to, right? Because you're playing a mid or anchor, you have the opportunity to get to level 3. You kind of just want to annoy your opponent by kind of flying around, bobbing in, out. You call your assist, right? Preferably a fast one, like Gogeta. You go in behind it, you get the hit, right? You do whatever combo that you think gets the job done for you. If you're close to the corner, you can do the M legs, 2H back fist. If you want the corner carry, then you just JH, you dash in, right? You could 5S, as I showed before, right? You can throw out 5S, so the decent full screen poke. Pushes your opponent back, builds some space. Yeah, you want to, throw out some EX legs here and there, right? You can bait your opponent actually as well, right? So let's say you 2H, but you hold back. You can make your opponent, whoa, what a good 2H. You can bait your opponent to 2H, and you can either hit them out of it, or you can make them whiff, and then punish them accordingly. Right? So it's a great tool to use. If you kind of just want an active hitbox while you're retreating, you can do L legs. And if your opponent eventually ends up super dashing at you, right? You just kind of hold it, confirm, and then vanish because you're retreating. Boom, you get the hit. All of a sudden, you're taking them to Flavor Town. So yeah, this is very great to deter them from super dashing. Got to be careful, depending on who you're fighting, right? Like Baby, for example, he's gonna be throwing key blasts around, right, trying to control the screen. That's more so for characters that don't have that privilege, right? That can't really stop Gohan from approaching the way he wants to. And then, M legs is if you don't want to use EX legs to go in, M legs is also a good version to use to go in. L legs don't propel you forward if you're not already going forward, so you can't backdash and then L legs to go forward, as L legs just keeps whatever momentum you have going for you already. And you definitely want to use 5M. 5M was already your go-to button in neutral, but now it's your go-to button in everything. This is nuts. Why? He used to hit from like here, right? Maybe here. Now my man be hitting from mad far for no reason. And you make them block, right? The crazy part is, it's like, oh man, it's nuts, dude. And then you just 50-50 them if they don't guard cancel, right? It's insane. Why would they do this to him? You could go into 3L and you'll be -2, right? Keep your opponent guessing, or you could just do the whole thing. Call your assist, put them in a 50-50, make them hate themselves. It's hype. That's not hype? That's pretty hype. You don't typically want to use Masenko. It's a huge risk. But on the other hand, if you see your opponent throw a beam themselves, if you're at least level 1, you have this option, right? Ooh, too early. I did that a little too early. But you can back fist to pin them down, call an assist, and kind of just cheat neutral, right? You could try sniping them with the Ki Blast too, and confirm into a vanish, but if you mistime it, you're just going to clash with the beam. You'll hit them with the vanish, but if you get the proper timing for this, you can even punish them, right? So I feel like the risk reward here is way better. Half bar, call your assist, you know, you get the punish. It's just something you have to learn to time, right? TN deletes people for nothing. Very true, right? You can even opt to, you know, super dash in as a traditional punish. You know, it just depends what you're ready for, right? If you're scouting for it, if you're not scouting for it, what you're trying to do here, you know. Sometimes you can't super dash them. There's like weird angles where you just can't do it, you know. Something like this, right? You'll get hit because you're going up to them, as opposed to, you know, if you time your back fist accordingly. That's too early. Oh, I missed, but you get the point. So it just depends on the situation. How are you going to use your tools, right? You're like, well, why don't I just run in and punish him? Well, because you see what's going to happen is my man is going to call Krillin Rocks when you try to go in and punish him, right? You're going to be like playing neutral, and then boom, all of a sudden you get hit by Krillin Rocks. All of a sudden he gets a full combo. But you don't want to always use a typical approach. It's kind of just general knowledge for the game itself. You don't want to use a typical approach because sometimes they could be throwing something that's quote-unquote unsafe to bait you into going in, right? They're trying to punish. All of a sudden you get hit. They get a full-ass combo. They build 3 bars. They level 3 you. And then you die. So yeah, main neutral tools are obviously his S's, 5M, right? You really don't want to use 5L neutral. It's two hits. So it's a kind of big commitment, right? I mean, you could try mashing auto combo if you're at least level 1. And if it does hit, you can end in 0 on block or mix them, depending on how you feel. It is an option. I'm not saying you should do it, but it is an option. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, fastball neutral also works pretty well. Especially if you've used all your actions and you're trying to get to the ground very quickly. Or you're trying to bait your opponent, right? Like you're approaching and then you just fastball. You know, dash in, fastball. Things like that, right? You can make them try to hit a button, try to move around you. All of a sudden, you're below them. And being below your opponent is very good. Especially if you're like right here where they don't know what side you're going to hit them on. Puts you in a great position. You just have to be careful of their super dashes. Another good thing to do in neutral when you're baiting people, right? Or just throwing JS's is when your opponent decides, hey, I'm going to super dash at you now, right? You know, you boom, boom. You can you double Ki Blast into DP? Yeah, alright. Always have this DP ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Because all of a sudden you hit the DP. All of a sudden your opponent's life bar is just getting decimated. Boom. Boom. Obviously you could have done a better combo than me. But this is just a proof of concept, right? Super simple combo did 9k. For no reason. At level 1. Even level 0 you can still bait stuff, right? Actually, I think you could do this. It's the combo I was doing earlier, right? Oh, he flipped out. But yeah, this was probably a TLT. That much bar I have. But yeah, so you always kind of just want to buffer LDP. And you're thinking, why not just 2H? Well, LDP's frame 1 anti-air invincible. See? Invincibility, frame 1, jump attack, right? As opposed to 2H, which is frame 4. I can get it. My sick nasty. Oh! He's frame 4. You gotta believe me. So it's just having the frame 1 option, which is the best option that you can do. And then you just obliterate your opponent. Great. It's nice. It's amazing. Can't go wrong with it. Alright. Let's talk about Gohan's block strings now. Kind of mentioned this earlier, glossed over it, right? When you reach level, actually I wasn't even level 5. Oh, I guess I was talking about staggering pressure, right? When you're level 5. But let's talk level 0, right? You can't really do too much at level 0. This is your auto combo level 0, right? Your staggers are really just gonna be 5L and 2L, right? You could kind of like slowly stagger your pressure, but if you're gonna stagger and reset, it's gonna be basically 5L, 2L, maybe second hit of auto combo, right? Yeah, if you're gonna retreat, you do 2S, right? But I highly recommend you buffer LDP in case they super dash, so you can get the punish, right? You always want to make sure you stay. You always might want to make sure you stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. You could 2H as well, if you're really ready. But again, LDP is 1 frame, and it's not gonna hurt you to buffer it when you 2S, right? So yeah, level 0, it kind of sucks. It's very lackluster. If you want to push them as far away as you can, you know, 5H, 2S, right? Build some space here. That's pretty much it, you know. You know, try to catch them whiffing a button like this into 5M, especially with the range you have now. Try to catch him whiffing, right? Hit him with the good old Street Fighter with the whiff punish. He's not bad at level 0, but he's just so... He's so lacking, you know. Yeah, he really does become a character at level 1 because now you can do this, right? Call your assists, you go for the 50. This is like the easiest way for him to go into a 50-50, right? Granted, your opponent can guard cancel, but it's more expensive for them to guard cancel, right? But you can also just end in 2L, right? And you can try fast falling down. Granted, if your assist has enough blocks, right? But yeah, there's just way more ways for you to stagger your pressure, end your string, keep your opponent guessing, right? It's just beautiful, dude. Poetry in motion. So yeah, when you're level 1, you can go all the way to 2L, right? Because his auto combo has a built-in 2L. That doesn't mean you can't use 2L to start, right? You can 2L into 5L and then do the entire string, right? But that doesn't mean you have to stop there, you know. You can stop here, right? You can cut to this. You can cut there, of course. You can do the whole string, 2S out, you know, 2H early, EX legs, 50-50. You could 6M at any point, right, while still preserving your last low, because auto combo doesn't use 2M. Try to catch your opponent off guard. And 6M's hit at the highest level, so they'll think it's not going to work, alright? And again, you could just do all of this into 5H. Retreating to S, you know, LDP, make them explode, right? If you just want to build distance between the two of you. Or you could kind of just super dash at any point and go for the 50-50 relatively close to the corner, right? That's the good thing about how his auto combo works, is at any point you can surprise your opponent, you know, super dash, right? The 50-50 in the corner anyway. Not so much mid-screen. I think Labcoat's like the only character that gets a mid-screen 50-50. Might be one more. She's just that damn good. What a broken ass character. Oh man. So yeah, as you go up the levels, right? Yeah, you know, I talked about this earlier. You know, you could do more and more. Again, and you know, I showed this earlier, right? You could, and let's not have you do anything, right? Yeah. We're talking about how you could do this, right? Air dash, stay same side, EX legs, whatever. You can cross up, not to mention you could air dash, fast fall, light, right? 5L. So, yeah, I might as well cover this. Like I said, right, we're already talking about block strings and pressure. Might as well throw mix in there. You know, once you make your opponent block, that's when you mix them up. They go in hand, right? Unless Gohan's by himself. Then you saw the solo mix-ups he was able to do earlier. Of course, back fist is always good, right? You can... There's even some assists that push your opponent in front of you when you back fist. So you could actually make cross-up back fist same side. I don't think GT Goku is one of them. Ah, yeah, there you go. Oh, just gotta learn the timing. Yeah, so if you could make it stay same side, it just makes it even harder for your opponent to block it. Especially if you could time it to where they're out of block stun. So you can make cross up become same side, and it's just that much harder to block, right? That's pretty much it, right? When you're not in Spark. Of course, when you're in Spark, you just you go to town. You can literally do anything you want, right? Look at that. I faced the wrong way on that command dash. You know, 5L, right? The visual cue is to make your opponent think you crossed up, you know? Kind of just, if you think you could do it, you could do it, you know? So, of course, depending on how much hit stun your assists have, you can keep double air dash or true string. Oh, man. You gotta really go deep for this, huh? I wonder if 3L would be better. Oh, I did it. That's mad hard to do. But, I mean, that just goes to show how good the mix-up is, right? You're at Spark, you're level 3. Now, it gets even better when you're at level 5, because if you recall, I talked about how you can now come down with a button when you fastball, right? So, if you recall earlier, this is so evil, by the way. You can put your opponent in block spin, right? And then, if you do it properly, you can whiff. Ah, this is so freaking fast. Alright, you see that? You're doing JL fastfall, but you're facing the wrong way. Okay? So this is to make your opponent think you're gonna go overhead, right? And then you land and you 5L same side. This is probably the strongest mix-up given to him with the recent changes with the patch, right? So you can fake the high, or you could actually come down with the high, right? The falling JL. And then, you know, it's a 50-50. Or you could whiff and come down with falling M, right? And go low. It's a 50-50. They're not reacting to this. There's just no way. This is the gift of God. The gift of God mix. When Gohan already had some of the best mix in the game. Has been bestowed upon him. Why? It's a good question. Did he need it? No. Am I glad he has it? Yes. Bro, it's crazy. I think he got a double jump for it. Oh, it doesn't even hit. Oh! Nah, no one's blocking that, bro. Are you for real? There's nobody blocked that. This is so hard, but you get the point, right? You fast fall L air dash after the double jump. What a great character. Some would say the best to ever do it. It's actually illegal. What is left? We've generally touched base on his mix, his movement, how you can operate him in sparking, right? How safe you are when you're in level 7. We have to talk about what they brought back. Okay, so they brought back his old level 1 Oki, where Gohan was level 1. Whoops, I can prove a point. So before he could, back in vanilla, he could 2H after this, right? And it would catch forward tech. Let me show you. Mid-air recovery, forward, right? But they got rid of it after like a season because of Kazunoko, okay? Because Kazunoko was just too nasty. But now you can do it again if you just time it and you're not bad like me. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this video game. There we go. So yeah, you can 2H them, right? But it gets better. because you can also do IDM now, right? And it catches forward tech, it catches back tech. If they delay tech, you just react. You can confirm into 3H, right? Well, you're probably asking, well, what if they down tech into 2H? I'm glad you asked. So if they down tech 2H, you can actually block the 2H. And then from there, it's if does your opponent react or not, what happens, right? So you have two options. You can IDM or you can 2H, right? Now IDM is easier to figure out what to do post situation as opposed to 2H, due to the simple fact that if they delay tech, you're going to probably get punished unless you call an assist. But on the other hand, if you do manage to reach level 5, right, and you do this setup, all of a sudden, you know, you could fast fall, do this, and your opponent's exploding, you know. So it just depends what you're scouting for and what you're looking for when you're at this point in time. You have your opponent in the corner. Do you want to be safe? Do you want to do H into EX legs into 50-50, right? Because if they don't do anything, and let's just say they try to forward tech to get out, right? Here. And then they have to hold a 50-50, right? So it's incredible Oki that they gave him back for no reason. He didn't need this. But they're like, we have to make Gohan better. And you're probably wondering, why did they give this to him? Well, the reason they gave this to him is because of the universal change of... We put a little bit more bar here. The universal change of being able to do level 1 into level 3 when you're in limit break, right? They didn't want them flipping out at high hit stun and you having to potentially miss the level 3, right? Especially if you get a weird hit, like I don't know, you try to like do something like this. See how high they are? And if you immediately level 3, you should whiff some hits here. Yeah, right? See? You whiff some hits. You know, you did 4.3k damage. But if you wait a little bit, I still missed some hits, so I could have waited a little longer. But yeah, that's the rationale as to why they buffed the hit stun on it. Super weird. But yeah, any tips for landing fast fall medium? There actually is a little bit of a tip here. You delay super dash. That is the one thing. You delay super dash here. Because if you do it immediately, you can whiff on some characters. The higher you are, the better it is. The higher your opponent is, I should say, the more time it gives you to catch up to them with falling medium. I almost forgot level 3 Oki. It's relatively important. So you're at level 0. You don't really have much here to work with, right? You can, you know, super jump float. That's pretty much all you can really do at level 0. Kind of like base Vegeta, right? Where he super jump floats and he either goes high or low. You got the air dash here. So you could fast fall and then go low. You could float and go high. You don't really have many options here, right? That's pretty much the biggest one that you have. I mean, you could Dragon Rush, and you know, if you fake the high low, right? You know, you don't go for it. You land DR. You know, maybe back fist. Your options aren't that big. Okay, that gets a little bit better when you're level 1, because in the mid screen, oh man, if you time this correctly, you should be plus. Don't find it all that great. Oh, you're 0. You should be able to be plus on block with M back fist. But even being 0 on block is great, right? If you get the hit, super. You could even EX back fist if you're really fishing for a conversion, right? But mid screen, you typically can't do too much outside of, you know, back fist. You could like try to, you know, dash super jump and then falling M, but get comfortable with the easier stuff first, you know. You can also have the vanish stuff like other characters, right, if you really want to get expensive with it. So you get the hit, you vanish, and you're plus 21, so this can give you the, you know, same side key blast mix up into legs if you want to spend an extra bar like that. That's probably the best you can do if you have the resources, kind of similar to Vegito. But it is a risk because your opponent can just, you know, super dash, but the odds are typically in your favor. Now, it gets better when you're in level 3. This is when I would consider you actually gain really good mix. But this is really only in the corner. But, you know, the good thing is Gohan has a lot of ways to side switch. You know, you can do M legs, double jump, right? Put him in the corner. Level 3, you can do this combo. Whoops, into an easy side switch. Whoa, I like how it's easy and I'm messing up. Super simple, right? Easy ways to do it. If, let's say you don't have super dash, you could do this, right? You can micro dash afterwards. Oh, I'm missing it, but you micro dash level 3 and put them into the corner. And from here, you now have access to double air dash, right? Similar to Gogeta 4. This is when, again, this is when the mix really gets funny, because you double air dash or single air dash go low, right? And the beauty for Gohan is that since he has a light low, it's faster than Gogeta's 4, so it's harder to block. You can even super jump this if you want to make it even more ambiguous, right? But level 3 Oki, really potent at level 3. Doesn't really change once you get higher, outside of, you know, this one mix that I showed earlier, right? But once you hit level 7, you could try to go for something like this. Right? And then, you know, your opponent proceeds to lose his entire health bar. They'd be dead at that point if you level 3 them into back fist VX legs. And even if they do block it, right? Since it hits so meaty, you can cancel into legs. They can't 2H you. Alright, now let's talk about team building for Gohan. Right, the last thing. It's not going to take too long. And we'll just go to character select, just so I can kind of give you a general idea of like who's really good for him, who's not good for him. So when you're team building for Gohan, you typically want a point character that can, one, get the hit relatively easy, and two, bring him in on most parts of the screen. So, you know, characters that he has great synergy with, for example, are, you know, Gogeta Blue, right? He can get the hit. He has great neutral as long as you provide him with a decent assist, you know, like GT, Wawa's team, dude. Gogeta, well, not so much anymore because Vegito A got nerfed, but you can do, you know, Gogeta, right? You can do Gohan, and then you could have GT Goku behind them, or like Hit behind them, or Beerus in the back, right? If you're worried about meter build, then you could run somebody like Gogeta 4, where it's not as bad. You know, Vegeta Blue, Gotenks, you know, characters like this right there are good at building meter and are good at getting the hit. You know, Majin 21, you can do, you know, not so much Janemba, you would want him on anchor. You can do base Vegeta, Baby, you know, just characters again that can build a lot of meter, get the hit, and somehow tag him in. And then when it comes to when Gohan's actually out there, you know, if you have your point character like Gogeta, right, you know, base Vegeta, Baby, you want to make sure these characters can give a mix if he makes you block, help him in the neutral, right? You know, your third character could be a great neutral assist like GTA. You can have, I mean, Super Saiyan Vegeta's new assist is actually kind of crazy because he hits 16 times now, which should outlast Super Dash. Kind of, there's still the Reflect. There's Beerus, right? Beerus A is crazy. Krillin Rocks is immaculate. You know, just characters that have amazing assists when it comes to the neutral. You know, base Goku A even hits both sides. You just want a character to help him make the opponent block. So relatively beams can do the job done, get the job done, right? Because the moment you make the opponent block, that's when Gohan can really get things going. He puts them in block stun. Some of the best stagger pressure in the game, easily top 3. The only character that probably has better stagger pressure than him is like Lab Coat, in Gogeta, since Gogeta just got that new jab buff. But other characters, not so much. They have to commit to specials like Go Tanks, right? EX punches, things like that. You don't really want to pair him with characters like Cooler. Cooler's not really going to do much for Gohan, and Gohan's not really going to do much for Cooler, right? They don't work well together. Not so much, you know, S Broly, you know, you don't need Kid Buu anymore to provide him with mix, right? Frieza's not going to do anything for him. You know, characters that don't provide much in the neutral, right? These characters like Frieza and Kid Buu are characters that need help in the neutral, and that's Gohan, at least until he gets leveled. But even then, his neutral it's solid, but I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's the neutral like, you know, Jiren or Z Brawly Ride or like Baby or something. You know, these characters can kind of just fill the screen with random bullshit or can beat random bullshit. You want a beam, some full screen assist, lockdown assist, right? A character that can get the hit for him, build bar, bring him in leveled up, right? And there's alternatives to this. You know, you've seen Nitro play 18, where he just builds meter for Gohan, right? Just barriers up, builds meter, barriers up, builds meter, brings in Gohan. All of a sudden, Gohan has mad bar, right? So you could play a team like this, right? Because 18's a pretty solid point character, you know? So this is probably one of Gohan's better shells. You know, 18. Any character with a barrier that could build bar, you know, like Lapco and 18. Because if your opponent, you know, throws out a beam or something, right? Look at that. You just built a bar, right? And the other good thing about it too is when you get the hit with a character like this, you could level up, right? And then I missed it, but you can Dragon Rush for the knockdown as opposed to having them flip out in the air, right? Granted, with his new buff, oh my god, I keep missing. There we go. So yeah, you could do that, get the knockdown, or alternatively, right, which we've seen Nitro do, he'll get the hit, right, immediately super, and then opt to go for more supers, right, with HS, spend all the meter, and get to level 6, right, if he has 7 bars. He typically stops at 5, because there's no real reason to get to 6. So if you could pair him with a character where he can act afterwards, and, you know, I'll give you one more example of what other character can give him an action afterwards, you know, Gogeta. Alright, so just another example of just good team synergy for Gohan is you get the knockdown, right? And what's funny too is sometimes you don't even need them to be a character that you super into them, right? For example, with GT Goku, you can do things like this. Ground recovery, random, right? Just random combo, right? I don't know. And it doesn't hurt to change how you change your opponent's wake up. And then you could 3H, right? And then do whatever if you're leveled up. If they air tech, then they 3H block it, they land your plus. If not, then you can just 3H into anything really, right? You just react to how they tech. You could 3H, 2S, right? And just to make sure, you could do this at any level, right? As long as you have 3H available. I mean, this is typically really the only thing you can do if they block it on the ground. Just 2S, so just be ready. And then into legs, keep your opponent guessing, right? Or do nothing and kind of just be a wall. And of course, if you're level 5, that's when you could kind of just do whatever, right? You 3H, you block it, you know, it's party time. But at the end of the day, if you could find him a character that can build a meter, get him in, and have them leveled up and still provide some kind of assistance when they're in the back, you know, any character with a projectile, any character with a, you know, like Jiren A, right, you know, Gogeta A, even Vegito A is still, right, is still pretty solid just because of how much ground it covers. can really get Gohan going. I don't know if I really missed anything big. There's like minute things that I could have missed, right? Like I didn't really talk about, you know, I did a little bit how you can like space out your opponent to mash if you do a string like this, and then you could 5M to punish them. I didn't really go into super specific things like, oh, you could fuzzy this character because they're taller than other characters and things like that. I generally want to talk about the more common scenarios in this guide. Maybe I'll make a guide that goes into like the super extremely detailed, like in this specific matchup, what you want to do is this instead of this, you know, things like that. Like, oh, there's a gap here when they do this string, you want to match, you know, things like that. I don't really want to cover here because again, this is a guide for the more general approaches and general things that are happening. And if I could leave you with any parting notes, it would be get Gohan to level 3, don't play on point, and learn level 0 and level 1 Gohan extremely well. Level 3, 5, and 7 will follow afterwards. Don't just skip to level 7. You wanna be at the levels you know you're gonna get, which is 0, 1, and 3. 5 and 7 will come later because you shouldn't be learning things like this when you first pick up Gohan. Don't cut corners because Gohan is not an easy character. You can't just skip straight to this combo. Right? I know you want to. I know you really want to, but don't, right? Because first you gotta learn other things that he does that are actually gonna happen very commonly in matches, like something like this, you know? You know, you air dash M there, right? This is gonna happen in a match. Okay? Not that combo at the end, right? That I just did when you're at level 5. You're typically not gonna be able to hit that, right? And if you do, and it's off a medium starter, you gotta do all these little changes. So you want to go for what's generally gonna happen in matches. So don't skip leg day is what I'm saying here. And that's pretty much about it. Just general Gohan knowledge that's good to know. Again, if I missed anything, let me know in the comments. And one last time, this is not a guide that's gonna cover super crazy specific situations in every single matchup, because that would take hours upon hours upon hours, maybe hundreds, to go through every character, every specific scenario. I just wanted to cover more so general situations that you find yourself in, and maybe I'll make a combo video with him after this. If this, you know what, how about this? If this gets 1,000 likes, I'll make a combo video for every single level with Gohan. How about that, huh? 1,000 likes. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. And I rambled a little bit, so I'm sorry, whichever editor edits this. And if I missed anything, I'll add it in later. All right. Appreciate you.